Well, first thing before I start off this Gray's mail, let me just say I don't know what gameplay is going to be in the background. Remember, I said that I had tried so desperately to get onto the beta on Friday. I had set aside all that time to do it. And when that failed, most of my weekend was already stock full of other events. So when I have tried to get onto the game, I just can't get the gameplays that I thought I was going to get. My situation kind of goes like this, like on Saturday and Sunday, when I go to get on the game, my son, he'll come in here and he'll sit by me and watch me play, and it'll take me 5 minutes to get into a game, and I usually join in late, and so I can only play for like 4 or 5 minutes, and then as soon as the game is over, I get kicked from the lobby and I end up waiting about 10 to 12 minutes to join into another game. So my son will actually go in the other room and play with his toys until the next game starts, and I'll yell for him and he'll run in here and watch it. But after 30, 45 minutes of doing that and only getting to play for about 15 minutes of that time, I kind of gave up on it. Now, I don't think that there is anything really inherently wrong with the game. I'm excited about the game. I just think that it's probably not going to be worth trying anymore until either next weekend's beta or when the game finally drops. I'm looking forward to hardcore. I think some of the guns, as I'm playing with them, I'm imagining their use in hardcore, so that gets me kind of excited. My connections game to game are completely different. Some games I just lay people down like a knife cutting through butter. On other games, it's like I empty half a clip and then they shoot me twice and I die. I can't explain it. The only one issue in the game that I see so far is the snipers have got to be nerfed. They've got to fix those. That's about it. And I'll make videos on the game coming forward. Alright, so let's get right into Gray's mail. We'll start off light and then we'll go heavy. How's that? The first one, and this is a cool question, it comes from Leonardo Bravo, and he asks me, besides YouTube, what do you do for a living? Well, first off, Leonardo, the way you worded that question makes me think that you believe that I make money from YouTube. Like, this is part of how I provide for my family, which is the furthest thing from the truth. On a good month, I may make 30 or 40 bucks from YouTube. All right. But if you look at the total amount of time that I put into YouTube, I am losing thousands of dollars. YouTube is nothing more than a hobby for me. And I never, and I truly mean this, I never plan on making any type of income from it. Sure, maybe in a couple of years, I could make like $400 or $500 a month off YouTube, which would be nice. Have a little bit of pocket money. I'd primarily just use it to update my equipment to bring you better quality. But you see these channels out there with 100,000 subscribers getting 10,000 views a day, and I know people out there assume that these people are making relatively good money, but they're not. They're making like maybe 10 bucks a day doing YouTube. The only real people making money on YouTube are the content creators with over 500,000 subscribers, averaging 75 to 125,000 views a day on YouTube, and maybe they Twitch stream on the side and take donations. That's where the money is, okay? So when you see channels that have 100,000 subscribers getting 10 to 15,000 views a day, they are not making a living off of that. Could be pretty cool for a high school kid, but that's about it, all right? But what do I truly do for a living? I'm in the health insurance industry. I am self-employed. I'm what's called a broker. I represent multiple insurance companies, providing health insurance for individuals and small businesses. And that's what I do. I've been doing it for over 16 years, and I've represented over 36 companies doing it. So there you go. Next question comes from Def Board, and he asks me, how important do you think college is? Let me explain this to you. Now, I went to college. I've told my story before. I actually started going to college when I was 15 years old. I was on track to become a doctor, but then I just got burnt out of school. I was doing health insurance. I was making a lot of money, so I didn't see the point in doing the schooling anymore. And then I met my wife, and I had some ideas of what I wanted to do. So here's what I know about college, from being my age. Number one, if you have a degree, you will make 15 to 20% more than somebody who does not have a degree. But that only applies in a job that has a salary. That's the only one that counts. Now, if you're going to go into a career field that requires a specific degree, like let me give you an example. Like if you want to be a nurse, then you got to go get a degree in nursing. So that degree is very important. But if you're just going to go into business and you get a degree in business or in psychology or literary arts or whatever you want to get your degree in, doesn't really matter that much. They just want to see that you completed it. Now, why is that? Because it shows maturity. It shows that you planned to do something, that you carried it out, and that you completed it. That's what employers want to see, that you can plan, carry out, and complete an objective at hand, and that's what a college degree is. It's a 4-year plan that you carried out. So that's the importance of it. But if you do what I do for a living, sales, straight commission, or if you want to open up your own business, a degree does not really matter. Now, will I tell my kids to get a degree? Yes, because I know in the long run it will pay itself off. As for financial parts of a degree, you should always go to community college and do as much as you can through a community college because it's far cheaper, and then go to a very, very cheap university, because at the end of the day, it really does not matter where you got your degree from. I don't care if you went to Purdue or Eastern Southern Illinois South State University. It doesn't matter, because all an employer wants to see is, did you complete your degree? And by the way, your grades don't mean anything. I know coming out of school, everybody's like, oh, I graduated magna cum laude. Great, here you go. Here's the same $30,000 that I'm paying this kid over here who barely graduated with a 2.5 GPA. All right, so there's my views on college. Let me see here. Now, this is a cool one. This one came from Hack Central. It's an interesting name, by the way. He says, how did it feel starting off YouTube, seeing such low subs and views? Is that what I expected? And did I think I would grow faster? It's a very interesting thing, okay? I imagine you're starting off a YouTube channel, or maybe you already have. First off, starting out on YouTube, you have to decide something, what kind of content you're going to create. And my main objective to you is this, is create content that you would sit down and watch, because that's ultimately why you're doing this. I started off YouTube because there was a specific type of content that I liked that nobody was producing anymore. A more mature type of content. You know, something like what Thunder does, maybe a little bit cleaner than what he does. But I like that view, or I like that avenue of YouTube, the old school type COD commentaries, you know, what I grew up watching. And it was all going by the wayside. And I was like, you know what? I like this content. I'm just going to go ahead and create it on my own. Then I imagined who was going to watch it. So I imagined the guys that I played the game with. So I was kind of creating the content that I liked for the people that I played with. And then my channel started to grow very, very slowly. Now, once I kind of got the hang of it, which took me about 2 weeks to a month, I decided I'm going to take a step out and I'm going to create a video for Thunderstruck Gaming, a channel that I had watched for maybe 4 years. And that gave me kind of my first leap forward. I met some guys, they helped me with my audio, my editing, background music, thumbnails, you know, things like that. And then I started to gain confidence. When I started off, I didn't really care about subs. I didn't care about views. I figured I would one day probably hit 50 to 100 subs and maybe get 50 to 100 views a video, and I was going to be happy with that. So is it what I expected? Yes. Getting on Thunderstruck over and over again, every single time I got on there, my confidence grew a little bit more. So eventually about around my 8th upload, I was like, okay, I got this. And my quality was very good. Now it's to the point where I view what I'm producing on a daily basis compared to what some of these other channels do on a weekly basis. And in one upload that they do, they will get 10 times as many views as 7 of my uploads. And that's kind of disconcerting, but I gotta go back to the very beginning and understand that I'm creating the content that I would want to see on YouTube, so what does it matter? And I never set out for YouTube to be a job. It was just a way for me to help people both get better at the game and to live a better life. Did I think that I would grow fast? No, but I will say that every week I get discouraged. At least one time a week I will get discouraged. I will put a lot of effort into a video and it will get barely any views or not as many views as I expected, and then I'll see one of these other channels put up a trash video under 3 minutes and get 50 to 75,000 views in a day, and I just shake my head. Now, for everybody who judges these YouTube channels, understand that the grind on YouTube is like nothing you have ever experienced in your life. If you haven't done it, then just shut your mouth. If you have not set out and made over 1,000 videos and another guy has, you have no right to judge his content and question why he has as many subscribers as he does, because whether or not he's putting up content that you like or that you agree with, and even if he's lying, the fact is that he's been putting it up for so long that he's gained a following, and you have to respect that in some ways. All right, let's go a little bit deeper and then we'll lighten it up before we close it off. The next question comes from Truths Chaos YT, and he asked me, what are my views on divorce and are there any reasons for it? Okay, so you guys know that I'm a Christian. And Christians, or at least people who truly believe in the Bible, do not agree with divorce. There is only one reason set out in the scriptures for divorce, and that is adultery. There's a reason why in the book of Malachi, God says, I hate divorce. If you were a child of divorce, or you've gone through a divorce, or you've seen a family member or a friend go through it, you realize how destructive it is in a person's life, how it wrecks relationships, how it destroys families, ruins friendships, job loss, financial chaos. I mean, it is an awful situation because nothing good happens. You have this man and this woman come together, two shall become one, and then you rip them apart. And when you rip them apart, everything that they touch shatters. And you can try to tell me that this isn't true, and you can try to give me reasons as to why divorce could be good, but the facts are the facts. A divorce ruins everything. And so at any and every possible chance that you can save a marriage, you save it. But the only one reason is adultery. I know people say, well, what about drug addiction? Well, you stand in front of the person, you say in sickness and in health, and an addiction is a sickness. So you can't leave somebody because of that. You say, well, okay, well, what about abuse? Well, abuse can also be viewed as a sickness and something that needs to be dealt with, and separation is an option. I don't understand why everybody rushes out to divorce when they could just separate, do some counseling, take some time, remember why they fell in love with that person in the first place. They can work on themselves and their marriage slowly and surely and not give up. But the problem is so many people want immediate gratification, and so they won't take the time or the necessary effort to save it. You got to remember why you married the person in the first place. And I don't know if you've already gone through a divorce. I know there's a lot of people listening to me that probably have. And it's an awful situation, but you know what? You still have your future before you, and if you're currently married to somebody, you have made that covenantal agreement with them, so you've got to stick it out. All right, that's a deep one right there. Let me end it with this. I have probably received upwards of 50 questions asking me about my viewpoints on Infinite Warfare. And should they buy it? Is it a fail? Will it last? All these types of things. The first thing I can tell you is this: you have not seen the whole game yet. You've seen a very small portion of the game modes, a very small portion of the guns, the score streaks. You haven't even seen them yet. I believe currently the connections are P2P, player to player, and not on dedicated servers, so we haven't felt the full force of the connection yet. I know from game to game it feels like different time to kills, so we got to let that balance out. I'm sure they're going to do something with the snipers to level those off. The movements are the movements. I mean, I think the overall offering of the game is good. Now, what will happen when the game fully launches? I have no idea. Right now, currently, the main people playing it are the Call of Duty tryhards, YouTubers, Twitch streamers. I mean, you have the sweatiest of the sweats going in there. You don't have the clueless people in there yet. They don't usually come until late November, beginning December is when they start to arrive. And then you can do these crazy things, because never forget that the videos you see on YouTube of guys like me annihilating lobbies, that's because I'm going up against 6 people who have no idea what they're doing. They may have just picked up a controller for the first time, and I'm making myself look like the god of COD, right? So just understand that's why you're probably struggling a lot. So if you were a 2KD player, you're going up against a bunch of other guys that are positive KD players, and it's very difficult to do well unless you catch them in the right rotation. Do I think the game's going to last very long? In its current state, if they don't fix a few things, no. I don't see it going past March. But, they're not stupid, all right? They want to keep the base of their consumers satisfied. I don't see myself playing this for 12 months straight, but I'll grind it. Don't get me wrong, I'll play the game. I'll become a max prestige in this game just because I like Call of Duty, and I've done it in every single Call of Duty except for Advanced Warfare. And I like the game so far, and I've even, I play with the guns, and I try to picture myself playing with them in hardcore, and I think I'm going to have a really, really good time. My advice to everybody is just be patient. I've said it before in another video that I will probably only have this game on one console for right now unless I fall in love with it here soon. So it's just going to be a PS4 exclusive for me, and we'll go from there. But I'll be playing Black Ops 3. This game has not overtaken my love for Black Ops 3. So that's where I'll leave it. All right, you guys, remember, Gray's Mail only works if you ask me questions. So put a comment down below, ask me some questions, see if it makes it in the next video. If you enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up button. And if you're new here, subscribe, because I'm here every day.